Okay, everybody, welcome today. I'm Becky, Raney, and this is my husband, Larry, and Suzanne Hall is here with us today. And we are going to talk today about the amazing empowerment of massive duplication. And I've been doing some fun trainings on some duplication processes, and I'm excited to share them with you today. And I actually, been working with essential oils for 8 years and have done everything the wrong way. I can tell you what not to do. And so that use my advice when I say, no, I don't recommend that, Suzanne's advice, because, we really don't want you to go down the deep mud path of pain, the rabbit hole of pain and struggling of running your doTERRA business. And because this business can be exciting, really fun, and just really rewarding too. And we would love you to get there quicker. So I'm going to go ahead and share our screen here. Let's see. I think I have the PowerPoint open. Let's see here. Yeah. Give me just a second. And let's see here.
Yeah, record it.
Yes, I got the recording on. And for some reason, is it coming up?
It will.
Can you guys see the screen okay?
Yeah, it's great.
Radical duplication. And I got some of this training from Eric Worre and some really top leaders in other network marketing companies, just pulling together all these really great ideas for what different people do in their network marketing business to have massive radical duplication. And, many of you on the call today maybe have just got started. You don't have anybody in your downline yet. Suzanne, I'm going to go ahead and give you co-host so you can unmute people. Okay. Or
great.
mute people. You got it?
Yep.
Okay. So if you wouldn't mind muting everybody for me, that would
Okay,
be
I got it. Oh. Okay.
Bingo.
Oh. Here, Becky, unmute you. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, muting me probably isn't a bad idea. Okay. So going through and everybody here on the call is going to be in different levels of their business. Like I was speaking with Sujay and he's just getting started. We've got lots of other people just getting started. And so one of the things that I find really valuable is comparing yourself to other people will rob you of your joy. And so I would love for you to just listen to this class in the intention of like looking at the roadmap and actually having somebody lay the red carpet out for you so you can see what you can expect down the road or what you've seen happen. You can see what's going on and know when you get to those places, you will have the tools in front of you to be able to pull from and use. Some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today may not make any sense because you're not at that place in that space, and that's okay. And some of you may have already gone past that place and space and may have some things you would like to input what you do. And I would love for you to enter that in the chat so that we can actually have some collaborative conversation on what works well for you. Okay, so basically, Rognason shared this slide with me a long time ago, and I thought it was just really great. Warren Buffett, everybody knows who he is, but isn't he the richest, one of the richest men in the world? And he said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And wow, so when you're listening to people who are really powerful in the financial industry, that is true. We tend to look at money differently, and this quote made me think about how money is actually an asset that can actually work for you, right? It should be going nonstop. So the way you do that is through duplication. And a lot of people don't really even understand what duplication is. And I'm going to admit, and I'm going to be very vulnerable here today, you guys, because I didn't understand duplication. Larry and I, we came from a print shop environment where we were bosses. We hired employees, we told them what to do, and if they didn't do that, we fired them, right? And that's really, was kind of a frustrating thing in its own self. Like every business that you have as an entrepreneur, you have your own set of ways to do things, correct? And one of the things that I really love about Suzanne is she's a teacher, and that's in a different environment altogether where students come in and you mold their minds, you help them, but you don't do the homework for them. Suzanne, do you do the homework for your kids when you were teaching school?
Oh, no,
No.
no.
Yeah.
Getting
So
them to the next level.
you're getting them to the next level, and then every kid learns differently, right? So
Mhm.
maybe one child, you say it this way to that child and they just get it and move forward, and then you say it that same way to another child, and then they're like, ooh, they don't understand, like it's totally doesn't work in their brain because they have a different kind of brain, they're wired a little different. That's great, right? But as a leader, when you're looking at duplication, you want to be able to raise your babies up to being able to be independent and graduate, right? And what is that time frame from raising that baby to graduation to when they become independent of you? What I've learned in working with you guys in India, that this duplication process is key. At first, I didn't do it. At first, I thought I was being really nice and helping everybody. I thought, like, oh, let me take care of that order for y'all, write it up. And then pretty soon, I realized that I taught everybody that I'm going to take care of their things for them.
Mhm.
And that's not duplicatable because, as your businesses grow and I'm doing all your work for you, then pretty soon I got dumped on, and I didn't have like, I was like this, whoa, trying to, have all these plates in the sky. And I was just trying, I couldn't do it. And I'm like, wow, I can't do something. I used to think that you know, I'm a woman, I can do many things, right? We can multitask and we do stuff that, oh my gosh, you guys, this is not duplicatable.
Yeah.
And it's really, really so important to be able to realize that network marketing without duplication is not a business. So you would not raise your child to never learn how to ride a bike or never learn how to make dress. They need to learn how to get dressed, right?
Mhm.
Eventually, you're not going to be dressing this 18-year-old kid that you have every morning. And so you have to start raising them up and being able to have your systems duplicatable. So don't fall in the trap of doing things for people. And Suzanne's always told me, give them assignments, make sure that they do it. And then some people, that assignment will take them, just a few minutes. And other people, they just get stuck and they can't do it. Right. So then you tell them a different way. And then you tell them a different way. But really what I've learned is, um, I've had some leaders who've been able to get that propay thing going right away, and other leaders, it just doesn't work. And I get that, you guys. I totally get it. It's not your fault. Like, I know sometimes working on websites and doing things, it's just like, I cannot do some things. That's okay, right? I'm really good at other things. And when you find out what your strengths are, focus on that. And as you have other people on your team, you guys can come together and actually, everybody's learning together, everybody's making it happen together, but together you can actually achieve more. But knowing that you're not doing it for them all the time, you're not doing it for them, right? So the reason provided that you can't do the work is actually being duplicated. I mean, you can't have, when somebody comes to you and say, well, I can't do that. Okay, I'll do it for you. And then that gets duplicated to their downline too. So many people, as they, oh, I thought that's how we do it. Well, no, no, no. I just was being nice. Like, I was just helping you, showing you the way. But in reality, when the mindset of the person that I'm helping thinks that that's the way to do it, they didn't realize I was just being nice, then we're duplicating the wrong mindset.
Mhm.
You guys, this is so huge. And I don't want you to do that. So what you want to do is actually have this conversation with people as they're getting started that, um, I'm going to have you become independent of me as soon as possible. And, when I first heard that, I thought, oh, don't leave me. And I actually have had people, oh, you got to help me along the way, every single way. Well, there's a difference between guiding you along like a teacher, showing you the way, but doing your homework for you doesn't work, right? So having the mindset like that, where actually you're learning the work, doing the work so that you can be empowered to understand how that process works. And then you can train your downline the same thing to have them do that. And then they will know how that works to train their downline. You have to make this duplicatable. So network marketing with duplication. If you create a duplicatable system, then instead of spinning plates in the air, you simply wind the clock. So every once in a while, somebody's going to come back to you and go, I don't understand this. That's okay. Like some kids come back and say, I don't understand how to write this sentence in English, or I don't know how to do this math problem. That's okay. If they get that it's not them, that they're wired a little bit differently than the way I explained it, and that they need to be explained in a different way, working with each other and having an understanding that they're not broken and that they're not stupid, I guess is probably a
Yeah.
bad way of saying it. But you guys, we all have amazing talents to work with, but we're not good at 100% of all things, right?
Mhm.
So focus on those things that you're really good at, and then surrounding yourself things that you're not so good at, and helping them lift you up and get that complete.
Sometimes, yeah, it's just experience.
It's experience, yeah. So part of this whole conversation I'm having right now with you, if you can get that, if you can get just what I said to like the um, complete core of your body,
Yeah. Yeah, in your heart.
in your heart, that this will take you a long ways. And it's not like when people ask me, well, what about this issue or that issue? What about this wellness concern? And I say, did you check here or did you check there? It's not that I don't want to give you the answer. I'm showing you ways to find the resources to be able to empower you to learn and understand about those wellness concerns so that you can empower your downline to show them as well where to look up those resources. Because my job is not to be giving protocols out to you guys every day. Your job is not to be giving protocols out to your downline every day. Now, when you're in a class and somebody asks something that you may not know and you can't find and you looked everywhere, that's where the group chats are really good for. So everybody is learning inside the group chat about that wellness concern. So go ahead and ask in those chats. It's like, what about this issue or that issue or whatnot, right?
Mhm.
So ask yourself right now, is what I'm doing every day something that every single person in my organization can also do every day? I would like to see in the chat if you guys say, like, is there something that you think you're doing that other people can't do? And if that's the case, then you got to, change your strategy, because people are looking at you. People are looking at you going, oh, I can't do that. Or, oh, I'll just ask them to do it for me. And that's something that I'm really taking to heart now, is that, I'm really good at graphic design. I'm really good at a lot of different things. And then people ask me to do that work for them, and then they're not learning. They're not learning. They're not taking the time to do the work. And then I find myself doing all this work for everybody else for their business, but then my business is not running, right? I'm not going out and recruiting. I'm not going out and following up with my new enrollments. I'm not going out and doing the things that I need to be doing to be running my business. And so, you guys, if you understand the whole process and what kind of business we're in, this will be really impactful for you. Okay. So create a clear path, make it simple. Now, Eric Worre was talking, he had this really great thing on radical duplication. And this is, I screenshotted this because I wanted you to get that this is him saying this, not me. And, I think doTERRA, we have a really great blessing with doTERRA, that we have
Retention
really,
rate.
yeah, thanks, Larry. Really, really, really good retention rate. People love the oils. People can do so many things with the oils. And so I think our chart is a little bit better than his, but he
Yes.
says here, you have to know the game you're in. You guys, yeah, this is a game, just like any business that you're gonna run. Like Larry and I chose at one point in time to play the game of print shop owners.
Yes,
We were gonna be print shop owners. We were for 28 years print shop owners.
we had a strategy.
We had a strategy every day we showed up to work, and then I can tell when I didn't show up to work with my full game on, right? And so if you know that 70% of the people you recruit are going to do absolutely nothing. Oh, that's terrible to hear, right? Look at all that work you put together. 70%. I think with doTERRA, it's probably more like maybe 40, 50%, 60, maybe it just depends.
Maybe they're just customers.
Maybe they're just customers. You got 20% will actually enroll 1 or 2 people. 5% will enroll 3 to 5 people and call it good. You know, 3% of those people will enroll maybe 6 to 9 people. And Eric Worre calls those people tourists. Like 30% of that, is like people are just tourists. They're just hanging out, being part of the fun, and then they go away. Like they're tourists. What we're looking for, like as you're building your business, you're looking for residents, right? That's 2% of the people who actually enroll 10 or more people, and they actually really are playing the game really hard and full out.
They're builders.
They're builders, right? But what the whole point of the slide is to know that the game is actually not to discourage you, that all these people here are just, they're not running with it, or like I know I've heard some of the leaders say, well, nobody's enrolling anybody, or whatever those things are that come up in our mind when we're trying to run the business, right? Susanna's heard me say quite a few of them. And but I think that just understand that this is part of any business. In our print shop, oh my gosh, there was a whole chart. I should have found that. I didn't go back and look for it, but there's a chart. When you run your business, it's the same exact thing. And I think it's actually 80% of the people will never, they'll come in, I'll do wedding invitations for them, right? Then they'll leave. We'll never see them again. I mean, well, which is probably a good thing because we don't want them to be married 5 or 6 times to reorder wedding invitations, right? So going through and having people return in business is actually the power of what doTERRA has, is that we can actually share with people the impactfulness that these oils are for our body and be able to have a really great retention rate. But no, a huge part of those people are going to be customers. We love customers, right? So love on them, give them all the information that they need and the tools to help them go on, and don't leave them. You want them to, you call them up, make sure they come back and return business, and actually empower them to use the oils in many different ways. Okay. So one of the things that you also want to take a look at is as you're learning and getting started with your business, like one of the gentlemen on the call first was talking about just learning, trying to figure out this whole thing before you really get started. And one of the things that you really want to create is momentum. And they talked about going through and setting up a plan, like maybe a 30-day plan or a 90-day plan. We'll go into that a little bit more here, okay? But creating momentum, when you get a plan together, you find 3 people that want to enroll right away, and then you say, okay, we got a plan. What do you want to do with this? Do you want to run with me? And then really start together with a plan. And I'm going to go over some slides with that too, but creating momentum is different than when you're doing 1%. If you're enrolling 1%, like you have 1 enrollment every 6 months or something like that. Now, I'm not saying that that's bad. What I'm saying is that moving backwards, it's kind of like paying credit card interest every month instead of actually paying it off, right? You're actually in the decline of running your business. When you enroll 2% of your, a month, then you have a neutral business, meaning you're maintaining your level of your business. But if you enroll 3% of your enrollments, so like let's say you have maybe 100 people on your team, or maybe you have 10 people on your team, and if you roll 2%, so look at the numbers, is how that works, then you're growing your business 20% to 40% year over year over year, okay? But if you look at enrolling up to 4%, you have massive momentum, and that will get you up into the hundreds of thousands of dollars in the large business, the large income earners, the top income earners of network marketing. So what is your activity? So you can relate this 1% to your daily activities. If you have 10 hours in a day, well, we have 24 hours in a day. So what is 1% of 24 hours? 20 minutes. We'll just say, if you're only doing 20 minutes of your business a day, then you're actually declining. But if you can bump that up and actually do 2 hours a day, then you're maybe staying neutral. If you can bump it up to 3% and maybe do 3 hours or 4 hours a day, then you're actually going to start gaining more momentum, okay? And up to the 4%. So really, and this is like any other business, the more hours you put into it, the more benefits and returns you'll get back. So I know it's really hard. Some of you guys are working full time. I know when Larry and I ran our print shop, if I understood some of these things during my print shop business days, that I was working 16 hours in my print shop, if I would have been spending a couple more hours more a day at doTERRA, things would look completely different for me today. I know it. So, okay. So 3 things you will learn today is a Pacesetter blueprint. So a Pacesetter is like setting pace. So how many of you guys ever think about running a marathon, right? Like you can just imagine if you've never, has anybody ran a marathon in here? I'm curious. Anybody on the chat ran a marathon?
I've run a half marathon, but not a marathon.
So I did a marathon. What year was that? 2006?
6, yeah.
Yeah, I did a marathon in 2006. I did a triathlon in 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you guys, I just didn't show up at the starter line. You know, I had to go through and train, right, Suzanne? You get up and you train, you go do things, you train. And you probably could walk 13 and a half miles without too much training, right? You could probably do that pretty easy in a day, but it's painful.
It would be painful.
It will be very painful. But so now, how do you win the marathon? Or how do you, it's going to be a training, working things together. You're going to go through an exercise every day, do the diet, do the things that it's going to take you to help support your body and making that happen. However, you're setting the pace too. How fast are you going to run? How fast are you going to do the training? How much work are you going to put into it? What are you putting together to have the success? Is your mindset going to be that you want to get first place when you're doing the training or when you're doing the marathon,
Yeah,
right?
what's your plan?
Or if you just want to finish, I just want to get to the finish line. That mindset is completely different. And what are you setting forward to your mindset of your team? So we're going to talk about pace setting. We're also going to be helping you set up your team to win big. I've got some really great ideas on a daily activities that you can do that doTERRA has actually given us in a lot of our books that I'm going to show you, as well as like, this is with all network marketing teams, you guys. This is all with other network marketing companies. And so we're not just unique, but what makes us unique is that we have all these tools that doTERRA has provided for us, okay? And so if you go at it with the fastest way to create your self-sufficient team, your team to be independent of you, you will grow fast and grow big, okay? So like we're all uniquely different. I showed this slide before in another class and I just thought it was really cute because we're all just so amazingly, just so full of talents and have so many great things, right? We all come different backgrounds, different sets of money, different cultural understandings, different income, mindset. And so work with that, work with your talents. So it's really great to go through and look at the skill sets that everybody has and actually talk about that and really honor everybody for those skill sets. So what we're going to talk about is when you go through and start looking at how do you start training all the different levels of people on your team? Like, how do you train all those different mindsets that you have, right? Some people, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this chart. This chart is starting at the top is the easiest thing, like being the easiest thing to do. So if you were to look at doing your doTERRA business, what is the easiest thing you can do today? Like, what would be the first thing you could do that you would think would be the easiest? Any thoughts on that, you guys? Go ahead and type in the chat. Just
Share an oil.
share an oil. That would be pretty easy to do. Share somebody with the smell of peppermint and watch them open up their eyes and go, wow, that's pretty crazy, right? How about a social media post? That's pretty easy to do.
Mhm.
Yeah. So when you think about,
Share your experience.
so those are really good assignments to give to people. Like your first assignment for today would be go share somebody's smell of peppermint. Okay. And then go post it on Facebook. And then that way, that would be pretty easy to do, right? The most difficult would be like doing mass duplication, like having and enrolling 30 people in a month or 20 people in 1 month. That would be like for a new person getting started, they would be like overwhelmed and quit, right? That would be like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty crazy. Some people, oh yeah, no problem. I can do that. I can have a class and I can enroll 20 people in a day. And so, wow, that's a big stretch between the really easiest, simplest thing to do to like a really difficult thing to do, right? So a lot of the different things, like how do you assign different things to different people and where they're at? And so having a relationship and actually sitting down, talking with people, what they want to achieve, what their goals are, and then going through and sharing different assignments with them to make sure that they're able to move forward with this duplication process, right? One of the main, most important things is actually learning the product. Like they said in this training that 50% of the people don't even open up their box when they get it. I'm like, what? Like, how could somebody spend that much money on a product and never use the product? So that's why we love to do wellness consults, is to go to the person's house, open up the bottles, open up the box, show them how to use the diffuser if they got one, show them how to use the different oils, write up some different recipes with them. And learning the product is really it's really important. Learning to teach the class would be probably a huge step for many of you. And I'm just so proud of people when they're able to just jump in and teach a class. Like Sadur, I know you had did not want to teach a class, but you did it. And once you did it, it was like, oh, what was I so worried about, right? And so being able to get past that stopping point and past that is a huge step. And the big thing is, you guys, when your downline sees you teaching a class, then they will teach a class. If your downline doesn't see you teach a class, then what? They won't teach a class. So they're going to duplicate what you're doing. So if your team isn't doing anything, look at yourself and see what you're doing. Okay. So presenting in large groups, and as you start to do the simple things like social media posts, Zoom meetings, learning the product, teaching the class, then you're going to start presenting in larger groups. As your team starts to grow, then you're going to have more and more people in the room, and it's just going to be really amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you just got started and you never done this before, you never taught a class, don't even know anything about the product, I would not suggest you to teach in front of a large group.
Nope.
No, that would probably be like really going off a cliff kind of conversation. So, but there are people who are willing and able to do that because they have those talents, right? And being able to know and recognize those talents and being able to work with them is really very important. Okay, so what are your actions that you're taking now? So take a minute. I want everybody to take a minute. Close your eyes and say, what am I really doing right now? Like, what am I really doing right now? And take a note to see if your downline is doing the same thing. What are your levels of actions? Are they in the low level, like social media, or are they at more of the higher level of 20 enrollments a day, And I'm not saying any one of them is bad. I don't mean to be putting any thoughts out there that, I'm only at level 1. No, you guys. Everybody had to wear diapers at one time, right? And we have to grow. And so if you want to get out of those diapers, then you start doing action, right? You start taking those steps that you want to get through and graduate from first grade to second grade and really start making that happen. So what actions do you want your team to take? Okay. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Anybody want to say anything in the chat? Everybody's pretty quiet in the chat.
Yeah, no comments in the chat yet.
Okay. So this is a slide from one of the persons in the training, and I thought it was really great. It's the art of leading out, right? I mean, so why is that so important? It's like, I just want to say that it's been, over the last year and a half, just incredible to be working with Suzanne because we create momentum. We're creating breathless energy. We're creating all this stuff going all the time. Like we have Monday classes, Thursdays classes. We're consistent. You know that you can count on these classes, right? And it's actually like they use the word breathless. Like you want to be like running that marathon without breath, right? You want to get to that point. You just don't want to walk it and just keep your breath, being able to be a few steps ahead of everybody all the time and being breathless and having that energy going. It's really important. And when you're in action, momentum happens. Like I noticed myself when I'm feeling down or tired, then I'm not in action. So I still have to am I eating right? Did I sleep okay? I have to kind of take note of my personal growth and my personal self-care, take inventory, and then don't tell yourself the negative side of it. You want to be able to turn that around and say, oh, I just didn't eat a good dinner last night, or I just didn't sleep very good last night. Let me grab some oils, get myself going. And when you start having energy, like I didn't want to teach this class this morning, you guys. I'm like, oh, so many problems going on, like the shipping or whatever, right? And just trying to deal with those things and being able to, and then how do you show up in a class with love, excitement, and energy, and have it that all's well. So being able to show up, you actually are able to have more stories. Living life will create a lot of things. When you're in action and you go to people's houses, you share the oils, they have stories, and you start to gather more stories to share. And then pretty soon you have all these great stories, and people love stories. Telling people what they should do versus sharing them a story is so much more impactful. Like I can tell you guys to do something, you'll never do it. But if I share a story, like relate it to something in the past, like, oh my gosh, I used to do this, this, and this, and oh, this is how it helped me or whatever. You guys can actually see yourself in that story and then have it fit for what your mindset is. But if I tell you specifically, it won't fit in your mindset, right? Because everybody is different. Like I go back to that one slide of those beautiful people. Everybody's different. And you always want to keep yourself current and relevant. A leader asked me the other day what the oils of the month, what the specials were. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot. Oh my gosh, you guys know what the oils are, know what the promotions are, know what's going on, have a plan in action, be out there in front with those things all the time. Okay, so how do you do this, right? How do you as a leader create duplication for your downline? Well, first is you want to always be recruiting. Like I am always recruiting. I actually enrolled somebody here in the United States on Saturday. Suzanne, that's 2 already this month. And
That's
United States,
awesome.
I know, I just can't believe it. You know how that happened? Is I went
No.
out and I did something. I went out and did a trade show booth.
You took action.
I took action.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
I
right.
done it twice. I had an enrollment each time. You guys, and this is so exciting. They were so happy to see me. Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to get back into doTERRA. One of them was with doTERRA. The other one had no idea how where she got the oils. And they just were so excited. They wanted to sign up right away. And it was just like, wow, I didn't have to do any work. It was just all I showed up. And so be personally recruiting all the time. Like you're riding in a taxi cab or in an Uber, like, hey, have you heard of essential oils? Or, pull out your peppermint and start using it. You should be using your oils everywhere you go. Put them in your purse, guys, put them in your bags and have them with you. Use them in public. Just pull them out. If you're in the library or at the grocery store, just pull them out and use them. People go, what is she doing? Or what is he doing? You're going to create curiosity. And that you don't need to say, hey, I got some oils to share with you. No, just pull them out and start using them. They're new to India. People don't know what they are. So it's very easy to create engagement that way.
Yeah.
And so, you're always relaunching, meaning sometimes you'll do a bunch of classes. Like I noticed my team seems to do a lot of classes the last couple of weeks of the month. They get all these enrollments, and then the first few weeks of the month, they start to train and get everybody set up and doing all these things. And then they go through these patterns. So relaunching your momentum and creating that all the time, having a plan. Rank advancements, that's really exciting. So when we start to announce the rank advancements of the different teams and the legs on the teams, from wellness advocate to consultant to manager, those young, great, earlier on ranks are so important because
Yeah.
it creates excitement. People realize that they can actually do this and that this is something that actually is really fun, and to share the oils with people and create that momentum. So when people start to rank advance, Rognason, he shared with me, it's like it's so important to be honoring all those people who are just getting started in their rank advancements. And it's so true, you guys. So what are you doing as leaders for your downline to honor them as the rank advancements? If you're waiting for Suzanne and I to be honoring that, well, so take a look at what you're duplicating and what you're not duplicating, okay?
Yeah.
As yourself, as a self-sufficient business in your own independent way. Okay, earn all things. So if there's promotions that are going on, and there's new kits that are out there, like I know that some, here we're coming up like with BOGOs are going to happen sometime, and like in Christmas specials and the Christmas products, you guys take advantage of all those. And it's really, really great to have those with you. So when you get them, when shipping happens, you get the product and you're able to actually share the Christmas promotions and things like that. It's just incredible. You need to be visible. So if you're out there sharing, like I said, you're at the grocery store, use the oils. Your social media, use the oils. You should, every picture should have an oil in front of you, right? And be visible so people see you be in action using the oils. And I need to do that more. Like I'm getting really good at maybe doing social media posts every day. But when I just post the ad from doTERRA, like they have, we have all these beautiful, really well designed little ads with like a frankincense oil on it or something, right? Well, everybody can do that. What makes you uniquely different? What makes you as a doTERRA leader visible, and that people want to see you using the product, not just an ad? And so that's going to be my goal, is to do more things with me doing the oils.
Yeah, and you can always tell people too, like, if you'd like me to show you how you can get your oils for free, I can show you.
Yeah. So doing like the promotion, like the
Inviting and
yeah,
enrolling.
on the trade show booth I had, I think I shared the sign. I made this sign that said get 25% off, right? And people saw that and they came up and said, "Oh, how do I get 25% off?" I'm like, "Well, you enroll today." It was just so easy. It's like, "Oh, okay, I'll do that," and it's like people want discounts and stuff. So I think it's really great. And I said, if you enroll today and you do this much, you get 2 free product. Oh my gosh, I'll do that. So it's really, really exciting to see. But just remember, your downline is watching what you do, not what you say. So you can be saying all these things, but are you doing them? And if doing them is your leadership, saying them, is not going to make any leadership happen, right? Because doing as I say, not as I do, just doesn't work in network marketing.
It's all about the action.
Yeah. Oh, let's see. Did I go ahead once? Wrong one. So game plan. So I'm clunking along here. I've got so many more slides to go through. So the game plan is how many hours you're putting together. So when you get in a new enrollment, and this person here, she wants to do doTERRA as a business, then let's come up with an action plan. How to work with a 4-week game plan. You guys, people don't know how to do this, and I'm guilty of that. A lot of you I've enrolled and was stuck and didn't know how to help you get started. Just do classes, and we've been saying that. But if you sit down and actually come up with a 4-week game plan, decide what rank you want to be in 4 weeks, how many people you want to enroll, how to go through and actually show up, like go to a booth, go to a coffee stand, go somewhere, meet people, talk to people. Who are those people? And actually get in action doing it, okay? And tracking that, track it every 7 days. I remember Suzanne Matthew, when he came to our business there and was teaching some classes, he said something that was really pretty cool. He goes, I kind of like sitting in my back office and hitting refresh and refresh. You could see the growth of the business, right? And your back office is changing all the time. So it's really very important to get familiar with how the back office is. So as a new leader, show them your back office so that they can see what can happen. They can see what the growth can be and where that's going to be. Now, if this is just, you just got started, you got one new enrollment, you're just in the beginning, which is perfect. And you have one person on your downline, that's perfect. See, this is how it looks. People love that. And showing that stuff is really very important.
Mhm.
Okay. Ask yourself weekly questions to track your progress. How many people have I started a conversation with this week? How many reaches out have I done? How many people have I shared the product with? How many people have I share, ATM, which would be giving samples with? How many follow-ups have I done? Like, follow-up is so important, you guys. If you're not following up, I'm guilty. I follow up as one of my weak points. And I don't know why. I'd spend all this work talking to them and getting them to, showing up on my social media and then going back and following up. So I'm implementing a little spreadsheet where I put people's names on there and I'm following up, and I'm going to just do that every day, see where I'm at, and use that as my guide. Because my WhatsApp thing has thousands of people on it now, and it's just really hard to keep track of. So find different systems and structures that are very successful and work really well for you, and share that with your downline. And maybe they may say, oh, when I worked at my full-time job over here, this is a system we used, and I'm really comfortable with that. I'm like, great, go ahead and do that. Okay. But it's a numbers game. We can go back to that Eric Worre slide where he said 70% of the people are going to be your customers. You guys, they may just buy once from you. Wow, how can you do to help them with that retention, help them come back? Because we need in our business monthly orders, right? That loyalty reward program. People say, well, gosh, I don't need any more oils right now. I got plenty. Well, then they're not sharing. You need oils for sharing. You need oils to be making stuff and showing people and doing classes with. And so, yeah, Suzanne, did you have a comment?
Well, I think I told you I had to go at 9:15 India time because I'm actually meeting a prospect of Praveen Sumarajan's downstairs in the lobby of our hotel. But before I leave, I just want to say a couple things about what you've said, because this is such an incredible topic. And Becky, you are just teaching this in a masterful way. There's a couple things you've said that I just want to reiterate before I go. One of those is to do, like what Becky said, do what you can duplicate. If you're doing a whole bunch of extravagant other things that people in your downline aren't going to be able to do, it's going to overwhelm them, and they're going to go, I really can't be a leader in this business, And so whatever you're doing, I would just say keep it simple. Keep it simple so that it's easy for other people to duplicate. Because if it's not simple, then they're going to be overwhelmed and not be able to do it. Another thing, just follow the program. Sometimes people want to recreate all their own, things, and doTERRA has such great resources. They have great programs. They have great enrollment kits. Just use what's there already, and then teach them and then empower them. Just a quick little example. I was going to say, where at my house, we have a big yard, and I had 5 kids, and I could not do that whole entire yard by myself. But it sometimes was easier for me to go out and trim bushes and pull weeds and water the right amount and do all these things because I knew how to do it. And so sometimes it was easier for me to do that than to take the time to teach my kids. But it was really important. I couldn't keep up with it all by myself. So what I would do is I would take them and I would train them on how to do that. What does it look like when there's no weeds? What is a weed and what is an actual plant, right? When you're going to trim this bush, how do you do it correctly so that it doesn't just look terrible, so that it looks nice? And how much water, all these different things I taught my kids. And then I divided up my yard into 5 pieces. And I said, this is yours. You have to take care of it. This is yours. You have to take care of it. And whenever they would say, can I go play with my friends? I'd say, are all of the weeds out of your bed? I called it their bed, their bed, their section of the beds. I'd say, are all of the weeds out of your bed? And is it look really great? And they'd say, yes, and so then I'd say, okay, go, and it's really just like what Becky said with a teacher or a parent. You wouldn't do your kids' homework or they're never going to learn how to do it. So teach them, but you do have to teach them. So I love this phrase. It says, teach them correct principles and then let them govern themselves. If you've taught them correctly, then you have to release them and let them govern themselves. And if they want it, they'll work for it and they'll do it. If they don't want it, they won't. And then you can just know who's really serious and who you need to spend time with. So I just wanted to share that, Becky. I think these concepts are absolutely incredible. And I have to go meet this guy downstairs, but I can't wait to listen to the rest of the recording. The slides are fabulous too. So anyway, I just wanted to say those things and thank you for being here. I guess what, I go home on Thursday. That's the day of our next class, but then I'll be back to normal, right? Right.
Let's hope.
So,
Today.
Nothing's ever normal, right? That's what makes it so exciting.
that's right, especially not now that we're doing orders in the US and having, and you know, it's going to be a crazy life for me for the next few months. But
Yeah.
anyway, I love you guys. I'm so glad I could join. And Becky, I'm just going to go ahead and leave, but
Okay.
enjoy the rest of your class. Okay, bye.
Bye. Okay, so maybe a little bit over. I'm going to ask your permission if I can go a little bit over on our time, because I got some really great stuff I really want to share with you. And I love the analogy that Suzanne shared, you know, weeding the garden. It's like it's a work. I mean, my garden needs to be weeded. I need to go out there and do it. And I'm like, I just can't keep up. So there's sometimes as you grow in your business, there's going to be duties that you need to let go and actually focus on. Where's your money generating tasks that you're doing that's helping you? And I know that many of you guys have asked me, can I put this together for you? Can I make this poster for this trade show? Or can I do these different things? You guys, I want to do them. I love doing them. It's really easy for me. But at the same time, I can't, because we need to train you and help you learn how to do that, help you get practice in doing those things, and help you be able to, so you can train your downline. Now, we can point you to resources and different things that you can look up. And things, and that's really important. And I don't mind working with you and showing you how to use the tools and things, but the commitment from you would be the mindset to know that as I train you, you need to train your downline, because you don't want to be doing that work for your downline either, right?
Yeah, train and delegate.
Train and delegate, train and delegate. I love that, Larry. It's really great. Okay, so the next slide here is we're managing expectations. And one of the really cool things that that I really liked what they talked about in this, is because I can really relate, is being an entrepreneur. It's an honor. You guys, not very many people are willing to be an entrepreneur. And when you go from actually an employee, like I worked at a print shop. I was a hired employee, and they took me to management pretty quickly. I was, how old was I? 21?
Yeah,
20?
your early 20s.
Actually, when I graduated college when I was 19. I know, I was kind of young.
You're an achiever.
Achiever. That's one of my number one strengths, right? It's achiever. and I went to working at a print shop before I was even 21. I wasn't even 21 yet when I managed a print shop. I had employees I had to manage, and it was crazy. It's like a completely different mindset than being an employee. Being an employee, you can go in, clock in, work for 2 weeks and get paid, right? But you're kind of stuck in that pattern. So being an entrepreneur, you can actually work harder and do more and do different things and actually make more money.
You're creating.
You're creating your opportunities. You're creating your mindset. But take a look at what is it that you're doing today? Like, what is it doing on your day-to-day tasks, your day-to-day plans, your day-to-day mindset? Is it an employee mindset? Like, are you sitting around waiting to be paid? Or are you actually digging in and saying, okay, what do I need to do today? How many phone calls do I need to make to keep those numbers up? So if I'm going to reach out 100 people, and I know out of those 100 people, I'm going to enroll maybe 2 people. Have I reached 100 people today, or, this week?
Yeah.
Or what are your goals? How many people do you need to call in a day to make those numbers happen, right? So there's ebbs and flows. Like, we all know right now how much of a difficult time we're having with Malaysia. I have 8 orders from August still that have not got and reached my beautiful people. And I'm really frustrated. I cry. I'm, the ebb and flows of, and then finally 3 boxes are reaching my leader in Assam. And then it's now a holiday for 4 days. So that I'm told that they probably won't be shipped for another 4 days. And I'm like, no, I tell you what, I wish I could probably walk that. I could run with those packages faster than what's happening right now. But we know that there's ebb and flow. So having that expectation set so people know in the very beginning that, we're pre-launching. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it. And if you can stick through that. Now, let me tell you something. An employee will not stick through it. An employee mindset will quit because they just, this is too hard. And an entrepreneur will roll up their sleeves and say, what can we do? How can we make this happen? What can we do next?
Yeah, if they're in creation mode, how do I create that?
How do I create? I love that. It's very much an entrepreneur is maybe not a person who's good with numbers, but more of a person good with being creative and looking for opportunities and looking for different ways to make things happen.
Yeah, you love to build.
You guys, with this shipping, Suzanne and I are very much entrepreneurs. We changed our shipping ways so many times because we are committed to getting those shipped. I still have a package stuck. I'll never see it. It's going to be my story forever. I still have a package stuck from October last year in customs in India. So, at least we're getting things through. It's just not as, we got stuck again a little bit with Malaysia being in lockdown. I was told that they only had one employee, that the government would only allow them to have one employee in the office. Can you believe how hard that would be for that employee? So when I start to really look and be sympathetic for what she's going through, I would be crying every day if I were her. It's incredible. But this pandemic, nobody expected. And I just can't wait for this pandemic to be over with and that we can get back to our normal lives and it won't be a conversation anymore, right? So timing. I have a really great slide here that's next. This is a really important thing. I love this chart. So when you first get started, you're first getting started, you haven't put much time into it yet, maybe just enrolled for a month. You're not going to make any money. I mean, I think when Larry and I first got our first paycheck, it was like $12, and I think I enrolled like 6 people. I'm like, $12. This is going to be terrible.
This isn't going to work.
This is not like an employee. An employee works, for those many hours, they get that consistent paycheck. An employee's paycheck would be something like this, down at the bottom, right? It'll be consistent. It would
very
never,
static.
It might grow a little bit because you did pretty good. They'll give you a, 25-cent raise or something, right? But, with what we're doing is we're looking at the long-term gain, right? So in 5 years, oh my gosh, the more time you put into things, the more money you'll make. And if you really look at this is so important to set this expectation for your new enrollments, right? It's so important. I really appreciate Sager. He told me, Becky, I know that it's not a short-term gain here. It's going to be in the long term. And I thought, wow, that's,
It's not a sprint, it's a marathon.
yeah, it's true. It's a marathon, definitely. Okay. And as you're going through, you're doing mindset, you're training yourself like, oh gosh, I talk to these people and they say they want to enroll and then they don't enroll. What's going on? Okay, well, see what's going on. Do some training, some self-development, work on some things, ask around, practice the new way of doing things, practice the new way of teaching a class, practice different things to be able to help you get those skills. As you're learning, you'll start to hone in on what's working and what's not working. And the more you start to do it, the more time you put into it, the better, and the more money will come. And believe me, what you're doing right now, if you're just getting started, it may seem overwhelming, but just start doing the work, be in action, do the business training guides, do all those things that we have that are tools to help you. And some people love to read and they learn really well. I am not a good reader and learn. I'm a person that needs to hear it and I need to see it because I'm such a visual person.
And do it.
And do it. I'm not a person that actually you can tell me or tell me to read a book. It won't happen. And so know who those people are in your downline. Know what stops them. And actually, if you really know yourself well, then you tell your upline, hey, I don't learn well this way. The way that learns really well for me is this. Make note of that. Work with them. I even tell my people, you're going to have to remind me, because now as you get more and more people on your team, please remind me how it works well for you so I can meet you what works best for you, okay? So the core rank, do you guys know what the core rank is for doTERRA? Anybody know what the core rank is?
Executive.
No, it's not executive, Larry. It's elite.
Elite.
Elite. I know that's what you meant. Elite is the core rank with doTERRA. And so as you're sitting down with your new enrollments and your new people who want to run the business, you want to train them the core rank and how to get there. Set up a plan, set up a goal, what they need to do every day, what their time frame is. For, let's say somebody wants to make elite in a month. It's possible. How do you get to 3,000 PV in a month? Okay, so how many enrollments of how much enrollments and how many classes you're going to do if you only get this many people signing up in a class? So work backwards with them so that they can see what their daily structure needs to be in order for them to meet those goals. Now, you also want to be realistic. If somebody wants to be blue diamond in the first month, I don't think that's ever happened. And, you don't ever want to discount somebody and tell them no, but say, hey, let's set up some realistic expectations and show them what it really takes to get there. And then actually say, let's start with this rank first. Because if you can teach people the core rank and they teach their people the core rank and they teach their people the core rank, you guys, that's duplication, then core rank is so important for all the different ranks, right? To be silver, you need to have three elites. And to be, I can't remember all this. I got the chart here. Let's take a look at it. But anyway, core rank is so important and it's the foundation of our business. Train everybody, get to elite, train a time frame to get them there and go with that. One of the things that I really like about the elite rank is it's just overall volume as they're trying to get their feet wet and find their leaders and do all those things. It's really important, and then they actually can make some money. I think it's an average around $350 of an income for that. So yeah, here's this chart that I was referring to. So to get to elite, you only need 3,000 PV, right? And that's just, you don't require any team leaders underneath you to be making rank. But to get to silver, you're going to need to have 3 elites to get to silver. So you're going to want to start training your downline to get to elite, to just have them get to 3,000 volume. It's incredible, okay? And then to get to platinum, you're going to have 9 elites, right? So you want to have your silvers train their downline to get to elite. So you can see where that duplication process is really valuable and important. I love what you say there, Hukeli. Yeah, make a list every day. Like, what are your plans? What are your goals? And, and even working with your mentor. So like set goals with you when you're talking with your downline. Where do they want to be? Successful people set specific goals. So they're measurable, like the SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, actionable. Anybody remember the rest of those are, but they're really important to be able to have and to do. So these charts here, if you want to reach elite in 30 days, okay, if you want to reach elite in 60 days or 90 days. If you have a 90-day goal, what is that? How many people you want underneath you? What is it going to take? How many classes to get to that many people to sign up and stuff, right? Then you ask them, how committed are they to reach your elite in your 90-day goals, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much hours are you going to put into it in a day to really do that? How hungry and committed are you to making that happen? And why is it important? Like, why do they want to reach that goal? Like having them be present to really what their goals are and why. Like, what is their emotion behind it so that they can use that to push them forward, okay? And then what disciplines are they going to need to take? So like for me, I'm going to start taking more discipline and actually doing more follow-up. Follow-up is going to be real important. So I put a structure together for follow-up. And that's one other reason why it's really great to have your leadership, your upline to help you, because sometimes there are blind spots in front of us that we don't know why things aren't working. And so to be able to be honest with yourself and have your accountability partner, your upline or crossline or somebody work with you to be able to show where some of those areas are that you want to work on. And that's all in leadership growth. But, we could talk about it all day long, but until you put those tools in action, you can read a book, but not do the stuff. You can do the trainings, but not do the stuff. Like how many of you guys actually take the training today? And what are you going to do first after this training? What goals are you going to do? What are you actually going to take any of these tools that we're talking about today and put them into action? Like, you guys show up every Monday, but my thought would be is if you can take this class and actually recreate it for yourself and teach your downline, wow, how great would that be? I would love for you to do that. So help them grow their business to stand on its own. So help them understand why it's so powerful, because if you have all these people who are building their business on their own, then that's actually going to be allowing you to grow even more, because you're focusing your time and your energy on the things that need to be done. Okay. Decide to be professional. And this is something that everybody has different personalities. I tend to be more I lead with my heart. And sometimes that gets me in trouble. I'm a very emotional being. I'm somebody who feels a lot. And maybe I say things that probably are more emotional and not very professional. But so taking time, taking a breath, and actually looking at all the important things that are out there in front of you that your commitment is. Have a critical conversation regarding level of participation that your downline wants to do. The more committed and understanding you are, having that conversation with them at the beginning is like, I don't know where you are. Like, let's pretend you're a new enrollment of mine. I know you're very interested in the products. You signed up with me today because you love the products and you know that they could be very beneficial for you and your health. And I don't know where you are if you're ever interested in sharing these oils with other people, but I would love to just spend a few minutes with you talking about the opportunity. And if it's a no, that's totally fine. But I would love to tell you about this so that maybe you might see in a day that see at one point in time in the future that there will be a day you want to get started and share the oils with others and actually grow your business.
Yeah.
Now, if you are wanting to really do this and run with me right now, then I know how to get started with you and know where to place you on my team. I know all the different things that we can help you with. And I feel like I have to have this critical conversation with you right now because I think it's very important to not let this sit aside and hope maybe someday you'll ask me. So planting the seed, you guys, is so important. So you know how to connect with people, you know how to be with them. And believe me, it's going to make a huge difference with your team too. They love and respect you because you are being professional about the conversation. And the more opportunist you are about it, you're planting the seed and they will come around. I promise.
Exactly. You have the conversation and you accept people for where they are.
That's definitely right. Yeah, exactly. Love on them no matter what, because you need those customers, right?
They'll come back.
Yeah, tell them I just so appreciate your business and I so appreciate that. And you want to remind them, people are motivated by different things. So figure out what they're motivated by and then build a relationship for them, with them. Even your prospects, people are motivated by different things. What motivates them to actually even sign up? They could be just a customer, which is great. We need those customers. But what motivates them to even take that step? In the very beginning of our class today, we were talking a little bit about people saying that the oils are a little expensive. Okay, well, build a relationship with them, find out what's important to them, and then turn that around on them and say, hey, you mentioned earlier, if you didn't have multiple sclerosis anymore, what would that be like for you?
Yeah.
And help them
choose.
see the pathway for making a difference for themselves and the lives. And
Mhm.
then you have stories. They have lots of stories to share with them to help them see that pathway.
Yeah. Ask them questions.
Okay, so just another few more slides here, you guys. Leadership growth only happens when you're in action, and that's hosting calls, hosting Zoom opportunities. You want to plug your leaders into teaching a class as soon as they can. You want to plug them into being on all the classes. Like, it's so important to come to all these classes because you never know when you're going to have that aha moment. I like to go, whoa,
Yeah.
where that moment, that magic moment happens, and it's going to be incredible. And even if somebody says, gosh, I don't want to do a teacher class, just say, hey, we have a thing called Name That Oil. And Becky would love for you to actually run that Name That Oil. It's really fun. And it just gets people used to talking on Zoom. And even if they just want to introduce a person, like somebody can come on and introduce one of their leaders, and just showing up, being visible, it's so important. And come to all the classes, come to all the events that are happening as much as you can, so that way, I know sometimes like, oh, I'm not going to hear an introduction over and over and over again, but you know what, It seems like I always learn something from all the introductions. There's like one little gold nugget that I always take away from, and it's just incredible.
Show up.
Show up. Okay, so be willing, be coachable, and be hungry. And if you are able to teach that with your downline, if they want to run with you, then that is really important. And so being coachable, I think, is probably one of the hardest things, because as entrepreneurs go, and remember, Larry and I are entrepreneurs, we tend to have a big ego. And sometimes being coachable is just not right there. So I know some of you might have a little bit of an ego too. And to be coachable is just like, well, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, or whatever. But actually, is it working for you? And if not, then actually let those guards down, be vulnerable. It's okay. We all have areas that we want to work on. And, that's where we really get to be connected. We really get to, and you're giving someone else an opportunity to love on you and share and help coach you along. And I think that's why people love being teachers, is because they can see the growth in others and really make a huge
Yeah,
difference.
they may be more effective, simpler way to do something.
So you guys, success is a decision. It is not a gift. When I heard that, I thought, oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's so true. Success is a decision. It's not a gift. People are not gifted. You have to be willing. You have to be coachable. You have to be hungry. And so that's our class for today. I hope this was helpful for you. And I will go ahead and stop the recording.